Tonight, we're diving into a story that is absolutely terrifying. It's about a road trip that takes a horrible, horrible turn. And it all boils down to three things: a creepy, dark jungle, a forgotten mansion, and a vengeful spirit with a request that is, well, it's pretty gruesome.
So picture this. It all starts on a deserted road, deep in the middle of a jungle. You've got a full moon hanging up there, just casting these eerie shadows everywhere. And on this road, three friends are riding on a single bike, just cutting through the silence. This is pretty much the last moment of peace they're going to have all night.
Okay, I want you to really put yourself in this situation for a second. You pull over just for a quick break. Your friend gets off the bike, walks over to the other side of the road, and then just nothing. He's gone. He's vanished. What do you do? Because that terrifying question is the exact moment this story kicks into high gear.
Right, so this is where the night just completely falls apart. We're about to see how a simple stop, something totally innocent, spirals into this desperate search for a friend who's just disappeared.
So, here's how it all went down. Our narrator is driving, his friends Suresh and Ajay are riding behind him. They stop, Ajay crosses the road, and then just complete silence. They start calling his name, joking around that they're going to leave him behind, but he doesn't come back.
Just as they're starting to think, okay, this is just a prank, a scream rips through the night. It is blood-curdling. It's Ajay's voice, and the terror in it is absolutely real. Yeah, this is no longer a joke.
So the two friends, they just plunge into the forest, right? They're desperately following these cries for help. And what they find, it confirms their worst fears. There's fresh blood splattered on the leaves, and there are these really clear drag marks, like something or someone was dragging their friend deeper and deeper into the woods.
That trail of blood doesn't just lead them into the darkness. It leads them here, to this old, creepy, dilapidated mansion just looming out of the trees. And you can bet that inside, the real horror of the night is just waiting for them.
Now, this part is really interesting because you see this psychological split happen between the two friends. Suresh is immediately convinced they're dealing with something supernatural, a witch. He's totally paralyzed by fear. But the narrator, he's trying to stay logical. He's thinking maybe it's a psycho killer, which is horrifying for sure, but at least it's human.
So the narrator, he can't stand it. He ignores Suresh, who's just frozen, and he charges upstairs following that blood trail. And then he sees it. Hanging from the rafters is Ajay's body. His hands are just dangling, his feet are tied up, and his head is gone.
And just as they're trying to process this absolutely gruesome sight, they hear it again. It's Ajay's voice. It's coming from a room nearby, and he's still pleading for help. But how? How is that even possible? His headless body is literally right there in front of him.
So very carefully, they push the door open. And in the far corner, they see a woman in a dark sari sitting with her back to them. And as she slowly turns around, the moonlight hits her. And they see the impossible truth. She has no head. And cradled in her lap is Ajay's.
Then, in this completely horrifying, unnatural motion, the headless spirit attaches Ajay's head to her own neck. The head smiles, and then it speaks with Ajay's voice, delivering this chilling demand: "Get me my head, or I will take yours."
The narrator and Suresh, they just run for their lives. But then Suresh suddenly stops. He's drawn back towards the mansion, like he's in some kind of trance. The narrator realizes the spirit has hypnotized him, and he can only watch in horror as Suresh walks back inside, picks up a knife, and just calmly decapitates himself.
So now, the narrator is the last one left. He is completely trapped. Both of his friends are dead, and this headless spirit is standing right between him and the door. Running is not an option. His only choice is to negotiate.
So the spirit's demand becomes this terrifying ultimatum. The narrator has to find her real head, which has been lost for who knows how long. And the price of failure? Well, that's his own head. All of a sudden, his life completely depends on solving a very old mystery.
And this is where the story completely shifts gears. It's not just a horror story about survival anymore. It's a murder investigation. To save his own skin, the narrator has to figure out exactly what happened to this woman all those years ago.
The spirit tells him her tragic story. Turns out she and her husband were here on vacation when 3 drunk campers broke in. They murdered her husband. Then they murdered her and beheaded her. They buried her body nearby, but her head was never found, and that's what's trapping her soul here.
Now, the spirit's story is heartbreaking, but it gives him almost nothing to go on. So when the narrator asks for just one more detail, anything, she remembers something that seems totally random. The killers. They were talking about frying and eating fish. That's it. That is the only lead he has.
And this is just brilliant. It shows how quick the narrator's thinking, even under all this pressure. He pieces it all together. Okay, wait. Her husband had only caught one small fish. That's not going to be enough for 3 grown men. They must have gone to the pond behind the mansion to get more. And if one of them was carrying her head, well, it's pretty likely they just tossed it into the water.
So now he has a theory. It's a long shot, but it's all he's got. His mission is crystal clear. Find that skull, reunite it with the body, and finally give this tortured spirit the peace she's been denied for so long. So he heads to the pond and he starts searching. And for 2 grueling hours, he is just wading through this dark, muddy water, blindly feeling along the bottom for any sign of a human skull.
And then his fingers close around it. Buried deep in the sludge, he finds a human skull, picked clean by years and years underwater. His desperate guess was right. He has what the spirit wants.
He follows her instructions exactly. He takes the skull, he digs up her skeleton from under a tree nearby, and he builds a funeral pyre. And as he cremates the remains together, he watches her spirit finally ascend, free from its earthly prison.
So, he survived the night. He actually outsmarted a vengeful spirit, and he got out of that jungle with his life. But the final question still hangs in the air. After watching your 2 best friends die so brutally, and bargaining with something from beyond the grave, can that kind of terror ever really leave you?